A happy day ahead. Let us look into the next part of the NAAC, which is Criteria 6, 6.4, Financial Management and Resource Mobilization. Resources play a very important role, and mobilization of resources is a very important aspect for any given organization. The leadership and the governance of the organization is decided on the factor of how they mobilize their resources and how best they use their resources. This particular aspect, when we look into this particular metric, you are able to see there are three aspects. 6.4.1, which talks about the conducting of financial audits, internal and external financial audits that you are able to see, whether they are conducted and whether they are conducted regularly. The second aspect happens to be 6.4.2, which talks about funds, grants received from the non-government bodies, individuals, philanthropists during the last 5 years, which is not covered in criteria 3. And the third aspect happens to be institutional strategies for mobilization of funds and optimal utilization of resources. The total weightage for this 6.4.1, 6.4 happens to be 20 marks. 6.4.1 has 6 marks, 6.4.2 has 8 and 6.4.3 has 6. Let us look into 6.4.1. The first aspect, it talks about in the institution conducts internal and external financial audits regularly. Now what is it that they expect more in it? Enumerate the various internal and external financial audits carried out during the last 5 years. 1. With the mechanism for settling the audit objections within maximum 500 words. This particular metric goes in a very different way. What does it make a mention? Whether you conduct audits regularly. This is one part. Second, how many times the audits have been conducted. Number 3, what is it that has come out of the audit. Number 4, how it has been settled out. So when we look into these aspects, what we understand is they are asking for audit evidences. For doing any audit, for conducting any audit, there has to be an audit plan. When we talk of an audit plan, an audit will have an objectives. Number 1. Number 2, audit will have certain criteria. Number 3, audit will have a scope. And number 4, audit will have follow-up actions. Whenever we talk of audits, we need to count out these 4 aspects. 1. Audit objectives. 2. Audit criteria. 3. Audit scope. 4. Follow-up actions. Now when we look into these 4 aspects, then we start looking into the audits, and therefore you are able to see one part that is done by the auditor and second that is done by the auditee post-audit. So evidences need to be created for the particular aspect. Now generating these audit findings would include conformances, will include compliances, will include its effectiveness, will include its efficiency, will include its progress, will include its capability, will improve its improvement. All these aspects will be coming under the generating audit findings. What would the auditee do to it then? The audit would be coming up with, or the auditee will be coming up with the conclusions whereby the extent or the degree of conformance that they have achieved. Second part, how effectively the audit has been implemented, the findings of the audit have been implemented. Then how is it that the data is now being maintained? How is it that the records are being maintained? What recommendations have come up and what are the follow-up activities that have been finalized? Now all these aspects start counting out, and therefore audit becomes a very important aspect. Auditing will come with its findings and its findings will come up with conclusions. This is a very big aspect that you are able to see with respect to the audits. We come to 6.4.2. It talks about funds or grants that have been received from the non-government bodies, individuals, philanthropists during the last 5 years, which is not covered under Criterion 3. Now you are able to see funds coming from the government are considered in Criteria 3 for research, funds coming for fees that have been counted out in Criteria 5, funds coming anywhere have been mentioned out here. What is the organization doing on its own to see to it that funds constantly keep on coming? How is it getting linked up to its stakeholders so that individual philanthropists are contributing? I wish to tell you one scheme of one of the colleges. There happens to be a scheme for the Poor Boys Fund. What does this particular scheme do? It includes collection of funds from the individuals. The college is an old college with a good reputation. The teachers who are serving in that organization have been working in that organization, a major lot has been working in that organization for more than 12 to 15 years. The teachers, due to their work, are recognized. The organization is recognized. They have come up with a plan which is where we are able to see that the teachers have asked for funds from people. On the individual basis, the teachers are being recognized and they are bringing funds. Now this money that comes in with the objective of Poor Boys Fund goes to a particular account in the college, which is then being exclusively maintained for providing the fellowships to the students. Now here you are able to see any student who wants money, who wants funds, is going to ask for it. Over a period of time, all the applications will be considered, the eligible students will be identified, the fund will be understood, and this fund will be provided back. In the past 2 years, something very fantastic that the organization has done. Now the organization also makes a mention saying that it tells the student that we are providing this to you as a loan. After you complete your education, whenever possible, you will return it. And the results have already started coming up. Some students have started paying the money back. Though the organization has decided that it will never ask the money back, the students are being assured that the education will go on continuously. The philanthropists are being assured that your money is being used in a correct way. The accounts are showing that the money is being used in the right way. The students are being told that you can use this money, but please return it back. There is no interest to be charged on this amount. And this openness of the policy is helping us, because just last year some students have tried to repay out the small amount that they have taken out. Now this is a kind of a way by which you are able to see the organization is bringing its credibility. And the best credibility comes when it relates to money, where you are able to see the objectives are very clear and it is getting linked up to the social aspect. Philanthropists, when they are going to get involved into the organization, it would mean that the organization is gaining a repute, and this repute is coming through the teachers, and therefore you are able to see these very small aspects can make a big impact, and this is very much possible to a very large number of society. I also wish to make a mention of one of the organizations in Pune called as the Karvestri Shikshan Samstha. They happen to have a college called as Siddhi Vinayak Mahavidyalaya. They have a fund called as the Bhaubiz Fund, whereby they go to the community. It's a 100-year-old organization. They go to the community. They request for funds that is collected by the organization, that is processed by the organization, and that is used for the betterment of the organization. So you're able to see there are so many organizations whereby you're able to see they're working in these particular areas to see to it that the community prospers, the students prosper, the research prospers, and the money that has come to the organization goes back in a multiplied form in the terms of services. So getting the funds from the philanthropists, from the individuals, from the non-government bodies is really going to matter out. It makes the organization an independent organization. We come to one more aspect which is known as the institutional strategies for mobilization of funds and optimal utilization of resources. When we talk of resources, utilization of resources really plays a very, use of funds for generation of resources really plays a very important role. Now, what is the use of that money that comes in? That money must be used. That money must be used in a very effective manner. Now, what is resource mobilization? Resource mobilization is about an organization getting the resources that are needed to be able to do the work it has planned. Resource mobilization is more than just fundraising. It is about getting a range of resources from a wide range of resource providers, that is known as donors, through a number of different mechanisms. There is a small organization in Konkan which runs schools, and what do? Without fail, they have their stall in the fairs and the trade fairs that take place in various cities. They keep whatever projects that are going on in the schools that they have, and they request the donors to pay whatever amount they can pay. That amount can range between 100 rupees to several lakh rupees. The amount that comes is then taken care of by the sanstha. They keep an account of it. They take the addresses of the people who have donated the funds. Every year they see to it that a letter goes to every donor whether he has donated that year or not. They remain in constant touch with the future donors. They give the accounts of where the amount has been spent. For example, into extreme rural areas, a hostel has been created. Now that hostel has an ability of something like 80 students. Now those students who otherwise will not be able to take the education have been brought into the process of education, and this is primarily because the resources have been mobilized. This mobilization of resource is a very important aspect. Mobilization of resource goes differently from collection of funds. We keep on collecting funds in a variety of ways. What are we doing with those funds is the most important aspect. Those funds need to be used in a more effective way. Effective use of the funds for the progress of the organization, for the betterment of the stakeholders, for creating a value of the organization is nothing but resource mobilization. All attempts should be done to see to it that every stakeholder contributes to resource mobilization, and therefore an organization can become strong only provided it is going to do a good kind of resource mobilization rather than going much beyond fund generation. So these are the three aspects that we need to understand in this particular criteria where we talk about the financial management and resource mobilization. To sum up, 6.4.1 says internal and external financial audits. 6.4.2 says funds received from the philanthropists and non-governmental agencies, and 6.3 talks about mobilization of funds, utilization of funds for the betterment of the organization. That is, one, whatever you have, how you take care of, how you see to it that there are no losses. Number two, how are you gaining more amounts? And number three, amount that you have gained, what are you doing with it so that you are able to grow your organization in a better way. 6.4 really is the heart of management in terms of funds mobilization and resource mobilization. Thank you.